Let's now talk about conversational analysis, which is quite close to pragmatics in certain areas of academic discussion. In the beginning, I'll just try to elaborate on what conversational analysis is. Conversational analysis primarily deals with ordinary, everyday conversation, and it also investigates how that conversation is constructed and how people manage their interactions during their conversation. By that, we could assume that it not looks at the linguistic choices which are made by the people, but it also looks at the technical aspects, how that conversation is managed, how the various elements of, for example, turn taking are employed in a conversation, who speaks first, who speaks later, what is spoken first, what is spoken later, and what comes first is related to the previous one or not, or even to the previous one. All these elements are a part of a healthy conversational analysis. Conversational analysis in Pragmatics is abbreviated as CA, and it's a study of social interaction embracing both verbal and non-verbal languages. Conversational analysis also involves various non-verbal elements, for example, pauses, silence, and even body gestures. It's a rigorous investigation of various features of a conversation, how it is generated and constructed in order to convey certain meanings, how it operates between speakers, what are various speakers involved, what is the power relation between the speakers, what are its distinguishing features of the conversation, how the participants construct their own meaning in the conversational situation. So all these elements and many more are a part of a detailed conversational analysis. Usually it's found in multiple layers. It's not a simple one-go analysis. Rather, it is spread over in different dimensions and in different layers. You will probably have to look into the patterns of turn taking, the patterns of question answer, or other inquiries involved, if only they are involved in a conversation, and many other aspects. As I said earlier, the power relations of the speakers, the setting overall. For example, a classroom interaction would be interpreted differently, would be sequenced differently, whereas a social discourse would be sequenced differently. So all these aspects are embedded in multiple layers. It examines different levels of meaning within a text, involving both the sequential meaning as well as the linguistic meaning. It looks at the contents, sequence, evolution and forms of the conversation, how the meanings, certain meanings are involved in a conversation. That's also a part of conversation analysis. The more interpretive one becomes in the analysis, the more risk is there of researcher projection. For example, as I said, this conversation analysis is led by certain technical aspects of the conversation. It's the elements of its making, for example, turn taking, etc. But if a researcher gets more interpretive, the element of his or her own projection would increase. Our conversation can be viewed as a series of speech acts. For example, greetings, apology, comments, inquiries, congratulations, invitations, requests, refusal, denials, promises, etc. There could be multiple. So in a certain conversation, there would be more than one speech act involved in a certain situation. To accomplish them, there is always a certain sequence involved, or some kind of organization, in other words, is necessary to accomplish a certain speech act in a conversation. For example, this organization would involve the elements of turn taking, sequencing of the conversation, then preference patterns, question-answer patterns, marking the beginning and ending of the conversation, and many more other aspects of organization of a conversation are involved in conversational analysis. The analysis of natural conversation to discover what linguistic characteristics of a conversation are involved and how they are used in ordinary life may generally be called conversational analysis. What elements are involved and how they have been managed, organized, that is a key feature of conversational analysis, and this distinguishes it from other kinds of discourse analysis. We could say that conversational analysis focuses more on the management and arrangement of a certain discourse also. Study of how speakers decide when to speak, how to speak during a conversation, how the utterances of two participants in a conversation are related, and the different functions of conversation, which may be pre-decided or which might develop during a conversation. They all are the aspect of conversational analysis. There can be certain features of conversational analysis which are discussed in the overall debate about conversational analysis and pragmatics. And some important ones among them are turn-taking, the study of pauses, overlaps, and back channels, adjacency pairs, the pairs in which a certain conversation is structured, for example, question-answer, preference structures, and sequences expansions. There can be many other aspects of conversation analysis which may not be possible to discuss in a short span of time. However, for the students of conversation analysis, it is necessary to see them in detail.